Hello guys, this is Alina doing my daily vlog. I know that I'm posting more than one video in one day, but I just can't help it. I have to tell you so many things. But today, I have a special treat for you all. Today, I'm going to be reading from New Moon, the breakup scene. Yes, if you can easily cry, I wouldn't watch this. But we're going to read it, and you're going to like it. So, let's get to it, shall we? New Moon, starting on page 67 if you want to follow along. Bear with me. I might not read at the same pace as you, and I might get some words wrong, but this is New Moon we're talking about. New Moon. Are you ready? Let's begin. He got out of his car when I stepped out of the truck and came to me. He reached to take my book bag from me. That was normal, but he shoved it back onto the seat. That was not normal. Come for a walk with me, he suggested in an unemotional voice, taking my hand. I didn't answer. I couldn't think of a way to protest, but I instantly knew that I wanted to. I didn't like this. This is bad. This is very bad, the voice in my head repeated again and again. But he didn't wait for an answer. He pulled me along toward the east side of the yard, where the forest encroached. I followed unwillingly, trying to think through the panic. It was what I wanted, I reminded myself, the chance to talk it all through. So why was the panic choking me? We'd gone only a few steps into the trees when he stopped. We were barely on the trail. I could still see the house. Some walk. Edward leaned against the tree and stared at me, his expression unreadable. Okay, let's talk, I said. It sounded braver than it felt. He took a deep breath. Bella, we're leaving. I took a deep breath, too. This was an acceptable option. I thought I was prepared, but I still had to ask. Why now? Another year? Bella, it's time. How much longer could we stay in Forks after all? Carlisle can barely pass for 30, and he's claiming 33 now. We'd have to start over soon regardless. His answer confused me. I thought the point of leaving was to let his family live in peace. Why did we have to leave if they were going? I stared at him, trying to understand what he meant. He stared back coldly. With a roll of nausea, I realized I'd misunderstood. When you say we, I whispered, I mean my family and myself, each word separate and distinct. I shook my head back and forth mechanically, trying to clear it. He waited without any sign of impatience. It took a few minutes before I could speak. Okay, I said. I'll come with you. You can't, Bella. Where we're going, it's not the right place for you. Where you are is the right place for me. I'm not good for you, Bella. Don't be ridiculous. I wanted to sound angry, but it just sounded like I was begging. You're the best part of my life. My world is not for you, he said grimly. What happened with Jasper? That was nothing, Edward. Nothing. You're right, he agreed. It was exactly what was to be expected. You promised. In Phoenix, you promised that you would stay. As long as that was best for you, he interrupted to correct me. No, this is about my soul, isn't it? I shouted, furious, the words exploding out of me. Somehow it still sounded like a plea. Carlisle told me about that, and I don't care. Edward, I don't care. You can have my soul. I don't want it without you. It's yours already. He took a deep breath and stared unseeingly at the ground for a long moment. His mouth twisted the tiniest bit. When he finally looked up, his eyes were different, harder, like the liquid gold had frozen solid. Bella, I don't want you to come with me. He spoke the words slowly and precisely, his cold eyes on my face, watching as I absorbed what he was really saying. There was a pause as I repeated the words in my head a few times, sifting through them for their real intent. You don't want me? I tried out the words, confused by the way they sounded, placed in that order. No. I stared uncomprehending into his eyes. He stared back without apology. His eyes were like topaz, hard, clear, and very deep. I felt like I could see into them. For for miles and miles, yet nowhere in their bottomless depths could I see contradiction to the word he'd spoken. Well, that changes things. I was surprised how calm and reasonable my voice sounded. It must be because I was so numb. I couldn't realize what he was telling me. It still didn't make any sense. He looked away into the trees as he spoke again. Of course I'll always love you, in a way. But what happened the other night made me realize that it's time for a change. Because I'm tired of pretending to be something I'm not, Bella. I am not human. He looked back, and the icy planes of his perfect face were not human. I've let this go on much too long, and I'm sorry for that. Don't. My voice was just a whisper now. Awareness was beginning to seep through me, trickling like acid through my veins. Don't do this. He just stared at me, and I could see from his eyes that my words were far too late. He already had. You're not good for me, Bella. He turned his earlier words around, and so I had no argument. How well I knew that I wasn't good enough for him. I opened my mouth to say something, and then closed it again. He waited patiently, his face wiped clean of all emotion. I tried again. If that's what you want. He nodded once. My whole body went numb. I couldn't feel anything below the neck. I would like to ask one favor, though, if that's not too much, he said. I wonder what he saw on my face, because something flickered across his own face in response. Before I could identify it, he'd composed his features into the same serene mask. Anything, I vowed, my voice faintly stronger. As I watched his frozen eyes melted, the gold became liquid again, molten, burning now into mine with an intensity that was overwhelming. Don't do anything reckless or stupid, he ordered, no longer detached. Do you understand what I'm saying? I nodded helplessly. His eyes cooled, the distance returned. I'm thinking of Charlie, of course. He needs you. Take care of yourself. For him. I nodded again. I will. He seemed to relax just a little. And I'll make you a promise in return, he said. I promise that this will be the last time you'll see me. I won't come back. I won't put you through anything like this again. You can go on with your life without any more interference from me. It'll be as if I never existed. My knees must have started to shake because the trees were suddenly wobbling. I could hear the blood pounding faster than normal behind my ears. His voice sounded farther away. He smiled gently. Don't worry. You're human. Your memory is no more than a sieve. Time heals all wounds for your kind. And your memories? I asked. It sounded like there was something stuck in my throat, like I was choking. Well, he hesitated for a short second. I won't forget, but my kind were very easily distracted. He smiled. The smile was tranquil, and it did not touch his eyes. He took a step away from me. That's everything, I suppose. We won't bother you again. And that's where I'm going to stop. Why, Edward? Why did you have to leave? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I know you're trying to protect her, but if you want to protect her, you better stay with her so she doesn't go running off with werewolves and being reckless and stupid like you told her not to do, but she's going to do anyways. Thank you for watching this. If you stayed through the whole video of me trying to read, you are very brave. Well, stay tuned for more New Moon vlogs, and if you want me to read another excerpt of New Moon, leave a comment below, and don't forget to rate. Rate 5 stars, please. I love them.